show. Hello and welcome to ECHE Music TV. We're going to talk today about how to build an awesome personal brand. But first, we're going to talk to Kyla Simone about her experiences at the IMMERSE Conference, a conference that you should know about. So we'll be back with that right after this song, Wildflower by Kyla Simone.
Wildflower grow, look how your petals rise, glisten in the light. Wildflower grow, color the mountainside, let it come alive. You were made to uplift the nations, out their pain and sorrow. You were made to change generations, give them hope for tomorrow. Oh, 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 oh. Keep growing and growing and growing. Oh, 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 oh. Keep growing and growing and growing. Wildflower grow, be bold where you're planted, used where you've landed. Wildflower grow, live light with abandon, the world is your canvas. You were made to uplift the nations, out their pain and sorrow. You were made to change generations, give them hope for tomorrow. Oh, oh, oh. Growing, yeah, yeah. Oh, oh, oh. Keep growing and growing. Grow so the ones who don't know who they are can see the Creator in you, yeah. Grow so the ones feeling lost and alone can see what trust in the Maker can do, yeah. Grow so the ones who don't know who they are can see the Creator in you, yeah. Grow so the ones feeling lost and alone can see what trust in the Maker can do, yeah. Oh, oh, oh. Keep growing and growing and growing. Oh, oh, oh. Keep growing and growing and growing. Oh, oh, oh. Keep growing and growing and growing. Oh, oh, oh. Keep growing and growing and growing. Oh, oh, oh. Keep growing, growing, growing.
You're live.
And welcome back to ECHE Music TV. We're here with my guest, Kyla Simone. Thank you very much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
And one thing that I forgot to mention before, that it is Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day.
What up, Ma?
To all the moms, grandmoms, aunties, godmothers out there. I wanted to share a quote from my mom. She is a Trinidadian immigrant, and I can't really do her Tobagonian accent that well, but here is one quote that she always told me when I was growing up. Good thing ain't cheap, and cheap thing ain't good. And in American speak, that means you get what you pay for. So thank you, Mom, for all the great advice you've given me over the years. Happy Mother's Day. So now, to what I wanted to introduce Kyla Simone to you, And I wanted her to give you some insights on a conference that she went to last year, right? And that you should know about. It's called the IMMERSE Conference, and it's put on by the Gospel Music Association. They're the same people that produce the Dove Awards. So, Kyla, talk to me about why did you decide to go to this conference? What made you want to go?
First, I felt so official. I'm like, yes, Simone. You know what? I started going to that conference, I want to say it was like early 2000 or something.
Okay.
They were here in Virginia. They came here to Virginia. And then several years later I went, and I've been going for like probably the last 3 or 4 years. And what made me want to go was just wanted to kind of hone in on my skill set as an artist and also as a songwriter. Learn the business side, because that's such a huge side of the music. For us, especially independent music artists, it's not just about us singing.
Right.
It's not only about the creative side. It's not only about the ministry side, but there's a business side.
Right.
And a lot of us don't thrive because we don't know the business side of things.
Right. I understand. And that's one of the reasons why I started ECHE Music. It's because I wanted to give that knowledge to artists out there who are, when you decide to become an artist, you're focused on your ministry and the message that you're speaking to your audience. But then you kind of come smack up against the business side of it when you want to sell your CDs, you want to reach people. So you have to learn how to do that. So tell me about your overall experience. Like, what was it like being there on the ground?
I had a good time. What's been special to me about Immerse is the people that I've met. I'm still friends with some people. We still follow each other on social media, support each other's music.
That's fantastic.
And so I think that's the biggest kind of takeaway, is that it really helps you create a network of people you probably never would have met if you had gone to that event.
Yes.
And it is, the music industry is all about relationships. And so I've seen so many of my friends that they have really grown, and like they're taken off in music, So it's just really wonderful to see and to experience. The classes are really great. There is a lot of amazing presenters, people that are right in the heart of the music industry. And so you glean and learn a whole lot from them. They share their experiences with you and their knowledge base, and you're able to, ask questions, and they're very open about allowing artists to approach them and
that's fantastic, and that's very that's very important to be able to ask the experts,
right?
Especially about your specific situation, because sometimes if they're in a group setting and they're talking about generalities and that kind of thing, and you're thinking, okay, well, but I'm this or I'm that. Especially like I've been to some conferences where they speak on in general terms about about marketing, about different venues as far as going out and performing. And some of these don't really apply to a Christian artist, or an artist who is a soloist, or an acoustic artist such as yourself, or so it is very, very important. And so what's the size like? Like, how many people are usually there?
There's several hundred people that attend.
Okay.
All sorts of age ranges, all sorts of cultures. It's definitely a diverse, pretty diverse group.
Diverse group. That's awesome. Okay, so what's your biggest takeaway from Immerse?
So I don't remember, like, because it's been so long, but I don't remember like specific nuggets. But my biggest, I'll say this. So I last year I entered the competition, the music competition. I don't typically like to do competitions because it's just, I don't know, it's just the stress of it. But I decided to go ahead and try, and I did not make it through. I made it through the first round, but I did not make it to that next round. I think that my takeaway from it was, one, knowing that I still had work as an artist to do, but at the same token, learning to also be confident in the gift that God has given me, and to take constructive criticism, yes, but not to the point that you allow it to make you feel disheartened about what God has given you.
Absolutely.
You know, so
or change your message or where.
and
where
so
you
I
wanna fit.
rewrote they based on their comments when they first listened to the song. They had sent a list of things that they thought I should change or do. So I rewrote part of the song. Matter of fact, I rewrote quite a bit of the song. And as I sang it afterwards and I perform it and stuff like that, like it just wasn't. It didn't feel right.
Didn't feel like you.
Right. And so I just realized that maybe, in some ways you should grow and change and do things. In other ways, sometimes you have to stick to your guns and just walk in confidence. And you don't necessarily need man's approval.
Right.
I think that constructive criticism is absolutely good and necessary. But also stand in confidence on what God is giving you, if that makes sense, like the balance.
It does. It absolutely makes sense because some criticism, should be taken and say, okay, maybe if I want to go in this direction, then yeah, this makes sense. But if I want to kind of just stand on my own and just go out there and try to reach my audience, and not necessarily worry about a specific industry platform, then yeah, that criticism doesn't necessarily matter. So that absolutely makes sense. So what helps you most in your music business, do you think?
I think for me, probably the fact that I'm a researcher, so I dig, and I try to tap into as many resources, like a lot of email, like companies that will send email blogs and that kind of thing. I try to tap into all sorts of resources, so that, from songwriting to stage presence to, all the different platforms. There are so many sites. Indie on the Move, I love their site. They have a lot of great blogs. CD Baby actually has, those kind of platforms. Reverb Nation, they have all sorts of articles that they'll send you. So I try to stay up on things that will help me look at things in a different perspective. And I think that definitely helps to open my horizons on the facet of things that I can do as an artist to try to get the music out.
Fantastic. I like a researcher and somebody who goes after the knowledge. So tell our audience about you and where you'll be next and how to contact you and get your music.
Okay, sure. So I'm a singer-songwriter here in the DMV. I've been around for a little while, and so I've put out one project. It's entitled Fly Soar. That came out in 2014, and it was probably one of my favorite things to do. It was a learning experience, a growing experience, but I'm happy with what came of it. And I just released a new single entitled Wildflower. So I'm excited about that. I hope you guys will go get it. It's on all the digital retailers, iTunes, Spotify. If you're going to stream it on Spotify, listen to it 100 times a day. Support independent.
Build those streams. Build those stream numbers.
Right.
Absolutely.
So I do have music out there. Just go to iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, any of those places, and you can find music. Kyla Simone. And then, of course, the main hub that I send people to, you can connect with me on social media and everything here is at KylaSimone.com. And all of my links and music and all of that stuff is right there. KylaSimone.com.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. Happy Mother's Day, y'all.
And happy Mother's Day. We'll be back after this song, You Can, by Divine Favor.
It's on? It's on? This is DC Danger. I want to introduce my baby Divine Favor, featuring Good. Before I do that, a special shout out to the Godfather Go-Go, Mr. Chuck Brown himself. Rest in peace, Chuck, baby. Now, with that being said, divine, good.
Drop that beat.
Danger.
You can.
Eternal life it gives, but it's death in the enemy, yeah, that's where it is. Enticing us with that money and all that lavishness. Yes, ain't nothing wrong with wealth, but we need spiritual help and think a little less of ourselves. Hey, because the last will be first to raise up from this old earth and walk into a new spiritual birth. A house divided can't stand, and I believe the Bible when it tells us through Jesus Christ, yes we can.
Welcome back. We're going to talk about how to build an awesome personal brand. Now, last week we talked about what is branding and why you need to brand yourself. So today we're going to talk about how to build a brand. First off, what you want to do is tell your story. Your story will include things like your background, your special skills, anything that's unique about you, personal insights that you've learned over the years through your experiences. I was joking with a friend yesterday, and we were talking about how, don't say, oh, well, I was born such and such and such and such. Well, guess what? That's not unique. We've all been born. So start with something, tell something that's unique, lessons that you've learned over the years. And that's especially relevant to your audience. You don't want to emotionally vomit all over people either. When you're be vulnerable, but yeah, don't emotionally vomit all over them. Make it relevant to them and to your experiences. Create an effective presence on social media. So some questions that you ask yourself when you're deciding your social media platforms. Which platform is right for you and your fans? Which do you use most? Because you have to be consistent when you're using your social media. So if you're mostly on Facebook, use Facebook rather than trying to use Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, all of these other things, and trying to kind of do them all at one time. And it's going to be difficult for you to be consistent. But if you like Facebook, start with Facebook and get consistent with that and be an expert on Facebook, and then move on to Twitter or Instagram or something else, you know. And don't copy content from one to the other. So like one thing I made sure I did yesterday, once I remembered my Twitter password, was to unlink my Twitter and Facebook, because content that works well for one doesn't necessarily work for the other. So also build a strong website. First off, determine what your goal is for the website. Is it for building fans? Is it for gathering email addresses? Is it for selling music, merch? Make sure you know what your goal for the website is and gear your website for that. And then once you decide what your goal is for the website, then you determine what you need to build it. Research tools. You know, are you going to use something like WordPress? Are you going to go to Squarespace or Wix? Are you going to hire somebody to build it for you? Somebody who is, you know, heavily graphical or more of a hand-drawn type of look, or, you know, determine which way is best as far as your needs. That will reach your goals for your website. And then the last thing is never stop communicating with your audience. Use the power of storytelling to capture their attention and to keep their attention. Some other ideas for communicating with your audience: do tribute videos to your fans. Invite fans to be in some videos with you, so they get some focus from you as well. They'll jump at the chance to be with you in a video. Use strong visuals like photos, videos, GIFs, and memes that help tell your story. And make a series of hashtagged videos addressing varied fan segments. Sometimes, like I was talking to Kyla earlier, and a lot of her fans are young girls, young women. And then there's also another segment of, you know, gentlemen who are following her. Well, you can make a series of videos that talk specifically to those young women, and then you can do another set that talk to those men that say, okay, hey, bring in your lady friends and your girlfriends and your wives and your mothers and to come and listen to my music or whatever. So those are some ideas for how to build a great personal brand. Be creative, think outside the box. All right. So thank you so much for joining us today. If you want more information about what we spoke about today, having an ECHE membership can help you do that. I have a resource where I put together lots of ideas for what to talk about with your fans. Because sometimes you want to be consistent, but it's hard to come up with fresh new ideas for what to talk about. So we'd love to have you. And we're going to go out with a song called Behold by Patricia Laverne McQueen. So we'll see you next time, and we so enjoyed having you. Happy Mother's Day again. Bye-bye.